Welcome back to the First Fight series, everyone. On today's episode, we sit down with Santo Curatolo. Santo is a current CFFC fighter, an up-and-coming prospect in the flyweight division. The Staten Island native talks about his start in Sambo, what he thinks of training with world-class teammates, and the role his parents have played in his career. Welcome to the show today, Santo.
Thank you, Jenny.
So Santo's going to tell us a little bit about his first fight. Like, we always interview different fighters from different points in their career, and it'll be fun to kind of interview someone early on in their career and see where they go from here. So Santo, if you'd like to get started, go ahead.
Yeah, so my first fight, I was a little bit nervous, but like you said, I have that wrestling background. I competed in a lot of national, state tournaments, so competition wasn't new to me. I was really comfortable, and I always try to remember who I train with: Frank Yeager, Corey Anderson, Marlon Moraes, all these UFC fighters who are ranked top 10 in the world, or former champions or current champions, and I know I'm led by a great example, so I always remember who I train with, and I go in there with lots of confidence, so I don't really let my nerves get the best of me, and I come ready to perform.
So you said your first fight was actually Sambo?
Yeah, actually, my first fight was a Sambo tournament in New Jersey years ago. I don't really remember where exactly. I didn't know how to strike at all. I just had a wrestling background. I just went in there and took guys down. It was full contact, elbows, punches, everything. And I went in there and I ended up winning, actually, surprisingly. I just wanted to do it for fun because I always just had an interest in martial arts, and that was my first opportunity, and I took it.
How old were you?
Probably about 17 years old. I was still in high school.
And for those of us who don't know, what is Sambo?
Sambo is basically martial arts, but you wear headgear and you wear a gi top, but with fight shorts.
So there's strikes, throws, I'm assuming, submissions?
Submissions, strikes, elbows, knees, everything, full contact, full submissions, and you get points. So there's a point system. It's like judo. So if you land a certain throw or you do a certain technique, you get points. And I won on points all my fights. I didn't finish any of them. I had 3 fights in one day, and I won all of them by points. Like I said, I don't really know the rules or how it worked. I just went in there and just did it. And I ended up winning. Yeah, I left with a gold medal, so I was happy about that.
So did that feel a lot different to you than wrestling had up to that point?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it was my first time being in an actual combat fight, so it was different. But to me, it was just another tournament. Like I said, when I competed in national tournaments and stuff, I wanted it. I wanted it so bad in wrestling. Like, that was the epitome of competition. Even now, professional fighting, I feel like, yeah, I want it. I want to win, but that hunger and that drive I had, and just wrestling, and there's no comparison. So when you want something bad, there's the nerves that come with it are just unreal. So I was ready. I wasn't nervous at all. I wasn't really that much different.
So when did you have your first MMA fight?
First MMA fight, I believe, was 2016, my first amateur fight. And I won by first round stoppage due to body shots.
That's not fun. Where were you for that fight? Were you at Nick's yet, or were you at another gym?
No, yeah, I was with Nick. I had my first fights with Nick, and that was at I Play America for a Dead Serious MMA.
No, Santo always brings out, like, the whole town he's from, pretty much. Whenever you fight, the crowd's full of people. Does that make you extra nervous? Were you extra nervous for your first fight doing MMA because of that?
No, I prefer the more people to be there, actually. My last professional fight at the Hard Rock, because it was at 2 p.m., a lot of people couldn't come, and I actually felt like I didn't feel the same energy in the room. And I like that. I like when I hear people yelling my name. I like when it's a crazy crowd. I get energy off of it. That fuels my fire. I just want to go. I want to perform for everybody and put on a show. So I like that. I prefer that.
Was your first MMA fight a totally different experience from the Sambo?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Sambo, I wore headgear. I wore a gi top. So it wasn't as intense at all. I felt like I was going into a wrestling match.
When was the first time you got hit in a fight? See, Santo, he finishes a lot of his fights pretty quickly. So, have you even gone the distance yet?
No, all my fights have been first round finishes. And you asked me when was the first time I've gotten hit. I haven't been hit in a fight yet at all. I haven't gotten hit with one single punch. Knock on wood.
Maybe we'll have this conversation when you go the distance for the first time. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, thank God, right? I guess it's a blessing. But I face tons of adversity in the gym. I train with absolute animals, so that's why I think I perform so well in the cage. I train with bigger guys all the time. I go in there with these flyweights, and I feel so in control, and I think that's why I've done so well.
See, Santo's a little guy, for those of you who don't know, and I feel like you're usually facing off with people that are bigger than you, but you have this insane strength. We were talking about like that mom strength when their baby's stuck under a car. You're like, just toss people around. Is it just like your mindset, or have you been just training different from birth?
Yeah, I mean, it is my mindset. I do get in my head. I tell myself before the fight, I'm too fast, I'm too strong. I get in my head, and I feel like I do bring out this inner strength. And my dad also had me hanging on a pull-up bar when I was in the walker. Before I could even walk, he had me hanging on that thing until I would fall, and then he would catch me, and I would be crying. He would put me back up, and then eventually I started pulling myself up. I started doing pull-ups from a real young age. He put that in me, so I got to thank him for that. And my mom too was a gymnast. She did gymnastics when she was younger, so I think I have really good genetics that just come with it along. And I was just always active as a young kid. I played football, I played hockey. I was always the smallest kid, so I had to push myself extra hard. And I think that's why I am where I am now and why I'm so strong.
I see you and your dad seem to have a really tight relationship. He's always there at your fights and really supporting you. Is that a big motivation for you when you fight and for your career?
Yeah, definitely. My mom and my dad, both of them, they support me so much. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now. Maybe I would be able to do it, but not to the extent. I still live at home. They help me out a lot financially. They help me out a lot emotionally, and they're just always keeping me focused. They believe in me so much. I know a lot of people's parents, they try to encourage them to go get this job or go do that. Or my parents are the complete opposite. They told me not to go to school. They told me not to go into the unions. They told me not to get these great jobs because they believe in me. They see my potential and they see the talent, and they know how hardworking I am. So they encourage me to go, and they encourage me to train and fight.
So where do you see yourself 2 years from now?
Probably the UFC. I want to be in the UFC. I want to be the champion. If not in 2 years, in 2.5 years, 3 years, I want to be the champion ASAP. I want to just come. I want to fight the best guys in the world. I want to compete against the best guys in the world. And I want the toughest challenges. I was always the type of wrestler, the type of fighter, type of competitor in anything that I always rise to the occasion. Whenever there's pressure on me, that's when I do my best. I could be sparring with a world champion, and I'll do better with him than I will with a guy who has no fights. That's just how I always was for some reason. I always rose to the occasion. So I want to just take the toughest challenges as they come and just rise.
That's a good point. I mean, if you watch Santo fight, he's just one of those people that shows up, and that's a skill I don't think everyone has. I always struggled with that. Fighting is mentally showing up, rising to the occasion when it counts. And you seem to always kind of be in your element anytime you're fighting. When you're in the gym sparring with these high-level guys, has there ever been a moment where you thought maybe you weren't cut out for it, or you've always just met your competition?
No, I mean, no disrespect to anybody. I look up to these guys. They're my idols. My whole life, my goal growing up was I wanted to train with Frankie Edgar. I wanted to be in the same camp as him. He was my idol. He was my favorite fighter always growing up. And I finally got here, and now I get to see him, and I get to learn from him, and I learn from all these guys. But when I go with them and I go with UFC level guys, I don't even think about it. I just want to do the best I can do. I just look at them like an unlocked character in a video game, just a black shadow. I forget about who they are. I forget about who everybody is, and I just try to just compete and be at the best I can be, and that's it, really.
No, I interviewed Frankie last, actually, and we talked about his role as like a mentor, a leader on the team. What is something that Frankie has taught you that you carry with you?
Consistency, work ethic, and cardio, and something he has you can't really teach. He's got a lot of heart, and I think I have that too. And I'm going to show everybody that when I do face adversity eventually, because like I said earlier, I'm led by great examples. So he's taught me the number one thing is just consistency, and just be dedicated to the craft and respect the game, and always be a student in the game.
Yeah, well, I said to him too, there's no secret in his success. It's just showing up, being there. Consistency is key. A lot of people, I think, when they fight, they are in camp or out of camp, and like people like Frankie, Corey, they're like constantly ready. And in this business, you never know when your career is gonna change. You know, it can feel like forever that your things are taking to happen in your career, and then literally like overnight you get a call in the UFC and you get a couple fights and things are happening. Well, thank you for coming on the show. What your next fight is when? Maybe February, March?
There's a fight in March. I think March 21st, I believe. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah, I'm probably going to be on that one, and I'm trying to get on in February also. I want to be on both, but I should know that by tomorrow, actually. So.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you progress. Every fight happens so fast. It's just, but it's exciting, and I think that's really good for the division. I think the flyweight division needs some more excitement, some more personality, and you seem to have it all. So we'll be looking forward to watching you maybe on CFFC again. And good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate you having me and taking the time and interviewing me. And I look forward to putting on a show in my future fights.